I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Isabella Garcia of Rise Against Hunger. And Rise Against Hunger is going to be the beneficiary of a fundraiser that the Neshoba Valley Rotary Club is going to be doing on Saturday, April 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at the Neshoba Regional High School. And so the proceeds, or at least the net proceeds, will be going to Rise Against Hunger. And this is a food packaging event. So I would encourage you to, I'm going to be joining them. Make sure you have your masks on, even if the governor says we don't have to wear them. And if you could just join even for an hour or so to help bag the foods, package them so that we can ship them off to Rise Against Hunger. So again, that's Saturday, April 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at the Neshoba Valley High School. So our keynote speaker, Isabel Garcia of Rise Against Hunger. Welcome, Isabel.
I am just going to share my screen very quickly. I find that presentations are way better when we have some visual aid so that everybody can get a sense and an idea of what we're saying. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Steve, for your kind invitation, for having me over. And thank you for everyone who is here for allowing me to steal about 20 minutes of your time, just so that I can share with you a little bit more about Rise Against Hunger, about who we are, what our mission is, and how you can get involved. So with that, the way that I have the presentation set up is it's going to be a little bit of a game if you feel so inclined. So if you have your smartphones, feel free to go to that website that you see at the top of the screen, which is www.kahoot.it. Once again, if you have your smartphones handy, or if you have a tablet, even if you wanted to open a new web browser in your computer, you're going to go to www.kahoot.it. Once you go into that web page, it's going to ask you for that game pin. I see that we already have a user logged in as Rotarians, which is fantastic. So once you put in that pin, it's going to ask you for your name, for your username that you are more than welcome to put in there. And if you want, I'm going to give everyone about 30 seconds for you to go ahead and join that webpage, www.kahoot.it. I see that Katarina has joined. Welcome, Katarina. Good to see you here. And once again, the game pin, it is at the top of the screen. So feel free to put that in there. If you're not joining right now and you're trying to get your devices, that is totally okay. That pin is going to stay on the screen for the duration of the presentation. So you're more than welcome to join at any point. So if it's okay with everybody, we can go ahead and get started. I see that it's going to be Katarina against Rotarians, which sounds kind of unfair.
Isabel, this says that we have to enter in a game pin number.
Yes, the game pin number is the one that is at the top of the screen. It's 483.
483.
6509.
6509?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
483-6509. And once you put that pin in, it's going to ask you to type in your name. And once you type in your name and you join, your name will pop up in the middle of the screen for everybody to see.
Okay.
There we go.
Yay.
Good to see you.
Yes,
welcome. Welcome.
Screen. Go back over
I see that Anne is being very technologically savvy, and she's actually taking a picture of the QR code, which is very valid as well. That will allow you to just automatically have the pin put in there, and that way you can put your name in the screen. And like I said, if anybody else wants to join throughout the presentation, that game pin is going to be on the screen for the duration of the presentation. And welcome. So happy that you could join us. So I will go ahead and get started. First, I would like to, let me click here. Oh, Frank, very good, wonderful. Welcome, Frank. And here we go. We are going to get started. Welcome to everyone. And once more, thank you so much for having me. So,
Irina, just 1 second. I just want to make sure, Bud, can you hear everything okay? Okay, thank you.
Okay. All
All
right.
set, Marlena, thank you.
Let's do a full screen. Can everybody hear me okay? Is the sound working properly? Wonderful. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, so thank you. Once again, my name is Isabel Garcia, and I am super ecstatic to be here presenting this information and sharing this with all of you today. So we're going to start with a very quick and fun question. It's going to be a true or false. You've heard of us as in Rise Against Hunger, and you are familiar with the work that we do. So answer true or false. There is no wrong answer. Feel free to answer as honestly as you can. So let's give it a couple more seconds for answers in. And with that, fantastic. All 4 of you who joined the game have heard of Rise Against Hunger, and you're familiar with the work that we do. Welcome, 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 welcome back. It's good to see some new faces. I started working at Rise Against Hunger back in 2020. I started working mid-February, so it was about 3 weeks before the pandemic shut everything down. So it's been a roller coaster of a ride, to say the least. So fantastic. We have 0 points because this is not a competition. This is just for us to get to know each other. Once we're familiar with one another, we can do this game again and do it for points. I just don't want people fighting on our very first time meeting. I don't want to make it very awkward. So today's going to be just a friendly game. So
everybody wins today.
Exactly. Everybody wins. That's how we like it. So Rise Against Hunger, as you probably already know, we are an international hunger relief aid organization. And it's really just the way that it sounds, Rise Against Hunger. Our mission is that is driven by the vision of a world without hunger. It is our dream, it is our goal, it is the end game that we strive for, to see a world without hunger. And that can only be possible through the work and the commitment and the support of our partners, of our volunteers, of our donors. It is definitely something that is no small feat. And by all means, we all need to come together so that we can really affect change and so that we can really bring about change to those who need it the most. We are committed to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which is ending hunger by 2030. Unfortunately, as you can probably imagine, in the past couple of years, life, the universe has thrown a few wrenches in our plans. We are not so confident that it's going to happen by 2030, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to try and that we're not going to give it our all. Rise Against Hunger was founded in 1998, and ever since we have distributed over 500 million meals and other critical aid to beneficiaries in over 78 countries. And last but not least, which is always a fun fact that we like to share with our Rotary partners, Rise Against Hunger was founded by Dr. Ray Buchanan, who is a United Methodist minister and an active Rotarian. So what do we do? Rise Against Hunger, wonderful. You're a global organization that wants to end hunger. How do you do that? Well, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is that Rise Against Hunger as a nonprofit, we want to first tackle remote last mile communities, what we call hunger pockets that are often overlooked by global media and other different types of organizations. And the reason for that is we just want to make sure that we're not leaving anyone behind. And just because a community, just because a country is not being covered by global media doesn't mean that they don't need the help, that they should not be worthy of an organization like Rise Against Hunger and volunteers such as yourselves coming together to fight hunger and to help the world's most vulnerable. So with that, the way that we go about it is through 4 different pathways, which we call the pathways to ending hunger, which I'm going to share with all of you in just a minute. And we work with local partners who are already in those communities. That is how we establish those connections. That is how we establish those relationships so that we are able to, whenever it's needed, ship out the aid that we send over to them so that they can receive it, distribute it, and ultimately be able to report on it so that we can share the information back with all our donors and supporters. So, like I mentioned, Rise Against Hunger goes about tackling the issue that is hunger through 4 pathways to ending hunger. The very first one, and these are in no particular order, they're not in an order of importance. This is just how we listed them. Empowering communities, that is the very first one, which is increasing self-sufficiency through the promotion of agricultural development, business skills, training, and market access. What that means is, as you will learn in just a few seconds, we conduct these events that Steve mentioned earlier in the call, where we have volunteers come together and they package meals that get boxed, and then they get assigned to a container and they get shipped to any of the communities that we serve. But as we probably know, that is just the first step of fighting hunger, because ending hunger is not just about putting food in your belly. It goes beyond that. It's about education. It's about access to resources. It's about having the proper tools to become sustainable. And that is how empowering communities comes into play here, because we work with those communities to help them become sustainable and to help them grow their own ingredients, their own food, enhance their economies, and be able to become independent from the aid that they are receiving from the outside. Number 2 for our pathways is Nourishing Lives, which is, like I mentioned, very commonly, it's one of our top engagement opportunities that people just love and they have so much fun doing, which is the meal packaging events, the meal packaging experiences. And that is how we're able to support nutrition-based safety with programs that provide education, training, and opportunities. We work a lot with school feeding programs in the communities that we serve. And that is because a lot of times in those communities, families feel the pressure of needing to work so that they can provide for their families. And a lot of times families are forced to take their young children out of school so that they can go into the workforce, so that they can help provide funds for the family. So through us working with school feeding programs, we are able, it's like a twofold type of effort, because that way we are encouraging families to keep their kids in school, because at the school is where they're going to receive these nutritious hot meals. And that way kids will be able to stay in school so that they can continue learning and continue getting an education, so that ultimately we can also help break the cycle of poverty. Our third pathway is responding to emergencies, by distributing food and aid to victims of natural and/or man-made disasters and crises. The most recent example that I can provide with all of you, as we know, there's a situation going on, a situation unfolding in Ukraine due to the invasion of Russia. And that is really a huge deal. That is the most recent current event situation that we have found ourselves engulfed with. And I'm sure that if you're anything like me, you've been obsessively reading about it in the news, trying to stay on track, trying to see what all the updates are. And that is very important for everyone. So Rise Against Hunger, we are working with our Italy partner. We have a Rise Against Hunger Italia, and they are taking the lead of gathering goods that they are able to provide to Ukraine refugees who are trying to leave the country. We are going to specifically be working with partners in Romania and Poland. So our marketing team is this very week working with Rise Against Hunger Italia so that we can put together some communications that we can send out. So if you or anybody you know might be interested in aiding the Ukraine crisis, please stay tuned. I will definitely send an update for everybody to stay updated. Last but not least, we have our pathway number 4, which is growing the movement. And that basically means what you're doing here today, allowing me the time to come over, share with you a little bit about Rise Against Hunger, share with you a little bit about our mission, who we are, what we do, how we go about fighting hunger. Become a hunger champion. After you leave here today, feel free to let anyone know about what Rise Against Hunger is. If anyone is passionate about the fight against hunger, let them know about us. Send them my information. I will be very happy to connect with all of them. All right, now we've come to a question. It is a single select, and the question is, how excited are you to partner with Rise Against Hunger and get involved in the fight against hunger? So this is a multiple choice. Feel free to pick more than one answer. And once you've done that, make sure that you submit your answers. We have about 4 seconds left in this question before we get our results and we see what people have chosen for this question. All right, I see that 2 people are really excited. 1 person is super excited, 1 person is beyond excited, and 1 person is over the moon. I think
you can put me down as super excited, but I left the online version because I thought we weren't going to have any more questions. So you can add.
Oh, we're going to have a couple more.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go back on again.
They're gonna be a couple more throughout. Oh no, please, okay. That's totally fine.
All right.
I'm just happy that we're all on the same page and that we're at least any one variation of excited to be joining the fight against hunger and to partner with Rise Against Hunger. So it seems that Rotarians are doing fantastically well. They're in first place and they're tied with Katerina, with Steve JD, with Anne and Frank. Since everybody's getting 0 points, we're just doing it for bragging rights. So I think that everybody's crushing it so far. So when we dive in a little further into our empowering community, into our pathways to ending hunger, we wanted to add a few slides that provided some additional information about what each pathway is. So I am not going to just stand here and read the slide out loud to you. Feel free to just check out the information whenever you get a chance. I understand that, Steve, you will be able to share this recording with the club. So I think that this is a good way for everybody to get a little bit more information so that we can all have a little bit better understanding of what Rise Against Hunger does and what our pathways to ending hunger are.
And if you'd like, Irene, if you send me the PowerPoint presentation, if that's what this is, I can upload it. And then when we post this video of you presenting on YouTube, I can add a link to that presentation.
Fantastic.
In case anybody wants to download it. Obviously, they'll see it on the screen, but in case they want to download it too.
Sounds good. That's great. Yeah, and that way people can have access to that information. They want to go whenever they want to go back to it and refer to it. By all means, that is greatly appreciated. So here we have a little slide on Nourishing Lives. Like I mentioned, that is just the first step to providing the aid that we provide our beneficiaries. And like I mentioned already, we do work a lot with school feeding programs because that is just a way that we can try to tackle the issue that is hunger through different fronts. Responding to emergencies. There are many ways that we can come together to respond to emergencies, such as donations, because with the donations, what we're able to do with those funds is we can use them for local procurement. And what that means is that we can work with our in-country partners to purchase goods and food right there in the countries and in the communities where our partners are, just because it would take away from the whole process, the putting together a shipment to be able to send it over, which that could take a little bit. So definitely through donations, that is the quickest, most direct and easiest way to support our responding to emergencies pathway.
So Isabel,
here we go. Here's another question.
Okay.
True or false? You want to join our Growing the Movement pathway and become a hunger champion. Now, I will say, even though I know that this is all for bragging rights, and I usually say there is no right or wrong answer, I will be very sad if anybody gets the wrong answer to this question. So a couple of seconds left. Let's see what everybody has said so far. Perfect. So everybody said true. I am very happy about that. And I am very grateful for your support and for giving me your time today. Rotarians, Katerina, Steve, Anne, and Frank are still in first place. So that is very impressive. I cannot wait to see until we do this game again and we do it for actual points. So now, moving
Isabel,
on and speaking, yes.
If you could wrap up in about 5 minutes and maybe we can have Q&A because we started the meeting late. I'd like to try to get it done by 1:30 because people may have schedules that require.
Not a problem. I don't think I have 5 minutes left. I think I may have 2 or 3 at most.
Okay, thank you.
So when we jump into a little bit more specifically, their relationship between Rise Against Hunger and Rotary International, because we do work with a lot of groups, we're going to jump into a question here very quickly. I'm going to test your Rotary knowledge here. What are the 4 basic human needs the Rotary Club of Action-Boxborough focuses on? And this is all information that I took directly from your website. So it is all updated and it is all accurate. About 3 seconds left. Let's see what everybody has said. Okay, fantastic. So no answer was a wrong answer. So any answer that you chose, that is one of the 4 basic human needs, which is the correct answer. Now, when we move on to the rest of the presentation, just a little recap of what our relationship has been throughout the years. So far, Rotarians have packaged more than 30 million meals with Rise Against Hunger, and that is incredible. That is massive. 5 Rotary districts have completed 1 million meal projects, and what this means is we work with different hosts when they want to come together, and it'll be 1 million meals being packaged on one day, which is fantastic. Rotary currently has a goal of 250 million meals by 2030, which I think you're well on your way to completing. And will your club or district be next? We have some of the benefits for partnering with Rise Against Hunger as a Rotary Club, as you can see them outlined in this slide. The first one is obviously collaboration. Collaboration, partnership, communication. Those are so incredibly important. They can work as a membership building event because we can invite people from around the community, and that will give you an opportunity to target different volunteers so that they can join your Rotary Club and continue building community. And as you can see, there are many more. They're family friendly, fun and heartwarming, and they definitely transform the lives of the volunteers and the beneficiaries. One more question.
Any questions?
Let's see here.
And now you're a charitable nonprofit?
Yes, we're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3.
So
absolutely.
You can take a tax deduction, for example.
Yes.
If we donate it. Okay.
Steve, if I could just interject a little something here, because District 7770 has participated in a number of Rise Against Hunger programs, one of them at the district conference, where we packaged 60,000 meals as part of the district conference. The club, the area 4 clubs in South Carolina have used it as one of their community service day projects. And a couple of times we've packed in excess of 20,000 meals as part of a project. I think we began in 2019. It was before the pandemic. We started with this before the pandemic, and it's a fantastic project. You can get the whole community involved. It's especially good for involving your Interact clubs if you have Interact clubs. And I assume this one may be associated with Interact since it's being done at Neshoba. So, I mean, I could just encourage, it's just a fantastic project for a club to participate in.
Just to clarify, I believe the Neshoba Valley Club has an Interact club, but they're working with the school's honor society. So I forgot to put that in, but that's who will also be participating on April 9th.
Yes.
Any other questions about Rise Against Hunger and about the event on April 9th? And if you could, please either let me know, just send an email to me that you're willing to volunteer, the times you're willing to volunteer. Again, the whole thing goes from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. If you can only do an hour or so of that, let me know, and then I'll pass that information on to the folks at Neshoba Valley who are organizing this event. Isabel, thank you very much. A big round of applause for Isabel, or 2 thumbs up. Thank you again so much
for having me. It's been such a pleasure. And please, if anyone is interested in connecting further, feel free to ask Steve. He has all my information, and I will be super happy to connect with all of you. Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us.